Eric Wilson here, independent licensed mechanic with 30 years of experience. In the next 6 to 7 minutes, I'm going to show you the inside story on this '08 Chevy Tahoe, and so you can make yourself an informed decision. Okay, coming in on the front left tire, you've got about 80% tread on aggressive snow tires, so definitely a lot of tread left for the winter time here. Now, this is your left outer tie rod. This is the most important thing in the whole car because it's the only thing that holds the left wheel to the steering, and it is tight. This is your left lower ball joint, and it is tight, critical because it holds the wheel to the chassis. This is your left upper ball joint, and it is tight, again critical, holds the wheel to the chassis. Now, this spring here and this shock is called strut. Now, if you look inside there, it's full of oil, and if it was leaking, you see it dripping all the way down here, bone dry. The spring intact, doing its job, no cracks, no breaks. This is the outer CV boot. Now, it's full of grease, and it's important, and if it was ripped, it'd be grease all over the place. Important not to be, because it lubricates the axle every time you drive. This is the inner CV boot, and it too is full of grease, and if it was ripped, you see it all over the place. Now, right here is a leak point. This is where the drive shaft comes out of the front diff, and if it was going to leak, you'd see it right here, because there's a seal behind there, and that is bone dry. This is your left sway bar link connected from here to here. Important to be connected because it dampens the sway when you go around the corner. Your brakes, you've got about, I'd say about 20,000 K left on your front brakes. Now, coming across, another leak point would be right here where the drive shaft comes into the front diff. See for yourself, good and dry. Another leak point is the bottom of the transmission pan, good and dry. Another leak point would be right here at the bottom of the oil pan here, good and dry. Now, this is your catalytic converter right here. That's just one of two, 1 and 2. Now, nothing wrong with it. Trouble is people are reaching under and going cut and going cut, and they're doing it, and you've got yourself about $1,000 repair. Now, that being said, if you buy the vehicle, contact me. I'm going to put in a free catalytic theft protection system that's going to stop that from happening. If you buy, come to me, I'll put that on. Now, coming across to the right front wheel, again about 80% tread on aggressive snow tires, so definitely lots of good tread. Right outer tie rod is tight. Right lower ball joint is tight. Right upper ball joint is tight. Your right strut, follow it down, good and dry. Spring, no cracks, no breaks. The inner CV boot on the right is good and dry. The outer CV boot, good and dry. Another leak point would be right here where the drive shaft comes out of the diff. See for yourself, good and dry. So you are definitely not going to be having any leaks on your driveway that I can see. Brake-wise, suspension-wise, leak-wise, I'm not seeing anything of any concern so far. And I'll just follow back now. We'll just follow back on the exhaust here. There's your muffler, a little bit of surface rust, but no holes. Okay, to be expected. And here's the final muffler. Okay, so I don't see any issues with the muffler. Now, coming to the exhaust system, I don't see any issues. Now, on the right rear tire, it's got about 70%, a little less tread on the rear tire than you have in the front, but definitely lots of tread left for your winter time. This is your spring, this is your shock, it's air shock. If you see that's where you see your air shock. Now, if the air shock was leaking, you see it leaking right along here, okay? And that is good and dry. This is your right sway bar link for the rear, connected from here to here. Same thing, dampens the sway. Another leak point would be right here, because this is where the drive shaft comes into the wheel, and there's a seal behind there, and if it was leaking, you see it all around here. Good and dry. Your right spring suspension, intact, no cracks, no breaks. Okay, on your rear brakes, you've got about 20,000 K left. A little less brakes on the rear than you have on the front, but down, but definitely not out. Coming across to the left rear side, this is again about 70-80% tread on aggressive snow tires on the left rear side. Now, your shock, again, follow it down, If it was leaking, you see oil all the way down here, and that is not. So, and the air shocks are really good because they're load levelers. If you get heavy loads, it automatically adjusts your height as well, which is a good feature in this vehicle. Your left spring suspension intact, no cracks, no breaks. Your right spring suspension, no cracks, no breaks. Your brakes, about 20,000 K left on your rear brakes, okay? Down, but definitely not out. Another leak point right here on the left side. If it was leaking, you see it right along here. Good and dry. Now, with the motor running, you've got 186,739. No check engine lights that I can see. No cracks in your windshield. Dash looking nice and clean. All right, I'll take you out and show you the condition of the motor. Other than the fact it's got low gas in it. Yeah, everything's good. I'm going to take you out and show you the condition of the motor now. Okay, with the motor running. Okay, shot of the exhaust of the motor running. Nothing out of the ordinary. A little bit of white smoke is good, but blue smoke is bad, so that's nothing out of the ordinary for your exhaust. Okay, one thing I always do is I take off the cap and I look for any kind the oil cap, and I look for any kind of indication of a mixture of oil and antifreeze, and it would show up as white goo. Now, this is not, there's no indication of that on this motor. In fact, I don't hear any indication on this motor other than it's just running very, very smooth and very well, and I'm not surprised. As far as I can tell, this has been well maintained. Now, hopefully this will help you make an informed decision. I am really not seeing anything of any concern. But remember, if you buy the vehicle, contact me, come to me, free catalytic theft protection system. I'll have you in and out in 20 minutes, and you'll be on the road with a cat that you got a fighting chance of not losing your cat. Number two, I'm also going to put a free fuel-saving device on that I've used for 20 years, and it saves 10% nonstop forever. So come to me, in and out 20 minutes, and it's free. Have a good one.